Am I looking right in the camera here?
This is the tale of Danny, a former boxing champion. Danny had once been the pride of Lawton City, winning 2 world titles. But those glory days were behind him now. These days, Danny focused on training his younger brother Max. One day, as Danny was being interviewed for a documentary about his life, he couldn't stop praising Max. "My brother will be champion someday, just like I was," Danny said proudly. Little did he know how their lives were about to change.
We make a mistake?
No, I mean, he'll be here,
At the gym, everyone wondered why Danny was late for filming how he trained Max. Soon their mother arrived. She managed both brothers' careers. To pass the time, she showed old news clips of Danny's boxing days. What the clips didn't show was how Danny had fallen into drug addiction after retiring. He had forgotten about the film crew in his drug-addled state. When Danny finally arrived, he casually greeted everyone as if nothing was wrong. During the interview, Danny announced Max would be fighting a boxer named Murphy the next day. "Max isn't the best yet, but I know he can win," Danny said confidently.
I think we got all the bases covered. And my kid brother?
That evening, the family gathered at a bar to continue filming. While the adults talked, Max noticed a pretty waitress named Sarah. At first, Sarah ignored Max's attempts to chat, but when Max defended her from a rude customer, Sarah was impressed. "Maybe we could go on a date Saturday night?" Max suggested hopefully. Sarah smiled and agreed. The next morning, as everyone prepared to leave for Max's fight, Danny was late again. Max and his mother had to pick Danny up from a friend's house where he'd been getting high. At the hotel, the brothers studied video of Murphy, Max's opponent. Suddenly, their mother burst in with news. Murphy had dropped out due to illness. The only available replacement was a heavyweight named Mike. Max was unsure if he could beat such a larger opponent. But with his family's encouragement, Max agreed to fight. Sadly, Max was badly beaten by the much bigger Mike. On the drive home, Max was devastated by the loss. Even his mother and Danny's attempts to cheer him up didn't help. That Saturday, Max took Sarah to the movies as planned. But Sarah could tell something was wrong. Max opened up about his crushing defeat and frustrations with Danny's unreliable training. Sarah comforted Max, assuring him he would find his own path to success. A month later, Max was offered another amateur fight. But still discouraged, Max refused to compete. He blamed Danny, saying he needed a more professional team. "I want real fights that can advance my career, not these small-time matches," Max insisted. Danny promised to find money to support Max's boxing dreams. The next day, a drunken Danny told the filmmakers he'd do anything for Max, even rob someone. That night, Danny and his friends actually attempted a robbery. When police arrived, Danny fled in a panic. Meanwhile, Max and his family were having dinner when they heard Danny had been beaten by police. Despite Sarah's protests, Max rushed to help his brother. Max injured his hand while rescuing Danny. The next day, both brothers faced a judge in court. Luckily, Max was cleared of charges, but Danny was sentenced to prison time. In jail, Danny suffered from severe drug withdrawal. A month later, the documentary about Danny aired on TV. Danny watched with other inmates, while Max and their mother watched at home. At first, Danny felt proud seeing his life story on screen. But watching how drugs had ruined him, Danny fell silent. He finally realized how much he had destroyed his life. After Max's hand healed, he began training again. One day, his father introduced a wealthy businessman offering to sponsor and manage Max. But there was a catch. Danny and their mother had to leave the team. Max reluctantly agreed, hoping it would help his career. When their mother found out, she was furious. She confronted Max at Sarah's house, feeling betrayed. An argument broke out, with Max's sisters and Sarah getting involved. A week later, Max's new team seemed to be working well. He won his next fight against a well-known boxer named Hernandez. Max's confidence returned as he kept winning matches. One day, Max visited Danny in prison. He told Danny about his new team and upcoming fight with Sanchez. Danny warned Max to trust their mother, not outsiders. He also advised Max to target Sanchez's left side. But Max ignored Danny's advice and left. The next day was Max's big fight against Sanchez. For several rounds, Sanchez dominated Max. In prison, Danny anxiously followed the match through calls with their mother. He prayed Max would use his advice. In round 7, a battered Max was knocked down. But Max got back up and finally targeted Sanchez's left side. Max won by knockout, just as Danny had predicted. After the fight, the Boxing Commission chairman congratulated Max. Impressed by Max's skill, he offered him a shot at the professional title. Max was thrilled. His dream was within reach. A few days later, Danny was released from prison. Their mother brought him to the gym to see Max. Max was happy to see Danny free, but hesitated when Danny offered to train him again. Max gently explained that Danny was no longer part of his team. Danny was shocked and deeply hurt by this rejection. As Danny and their mother prepared to leave, she angrily reminded Max that Danny's advice had won his last fight. This offended Sarah and Max's new trainer. Max admitted his mother was right. He did need Danny's help. But his new team refused to let Danny rejoin. Later, to ease tensions, their mother suggested the brothers spar together. But Max went too far, viciously attacking Danny. Their mother had to break up the fight. Upset by her favoritism, Max finally expressed his buried feelings. "Why do you always take Danny's side? Aren't I your son too?" he cried. Their mother apologized, realizing her mistake. Meanwhile, Danny went to Sarah's house with a peace offering. On the way, he resisted the temptation to use drugs again. Meeting Sarah, Danny sincerely asked to rejoin Max's team. "I've changed. Don't let our issues ruin Max's big chance," he pleaded. Seeing Danny's sincerity, Sarah agreed. The next day, the brothers were training together once more. Months later, after many victories, Max's title shot arrived. He faced the intimidating world champion, Cyrus. The crowd jeered Max as he entered the ring. During the brutal fight, Max was knocked down and exhausted. Between rounds, Danny gave Max crucial advice. "Attack his left side. That's his weakness," Danny urged. The bell rang and Max followed Danny's strategy. With a powerful left hook, Max knocked out Cyrus. Against all odds, Max was the new world champion.